That's the Model A. I'm going to start working on cleaning some of the stuff out of the floor because there's wood chips and stuff that like mice and critters and stuff have carried into the car. I want to get the inside cleaned out, vacuumed, and then I'm going to be storing all of my parts, everything on this top shelf, and even some of this stuff on the floor as the parts that came with the car. I'm going to be storing all of the parts in the Model A so that I keep my garage a little less cluttered, and because it's going to be a while before I start like fully working on the Model A, like actually start, working on replacing the bows in the roof and putting a roof on it and stuff. For now, I have to just kind of keep it on the back burner and tinker on it here and there, make it a little bit more reliable. I'm keeping an eye out for a good deal on wheels and tires so that I can get some tires on it that feel more round, because these ones feel like squares. So I'll still putter it around locally and tinker on it, but I am not going to be tearing into it big time for a while. Anyway, my buddy Dave from the Newport Antique Hill Climb, who is the Model A aficionado, is going to come by and visit for a little while, and maybe we're going to tune on the carburetor, and we'll see if Dave's okay with being on camera. But in the meantime, I'm going to start doing some cleaning. As you can see, there's some piles of wood chips and random stuff, a little bit of rust flakes and stuff. Somebody has definitely cleaned it out, but I'm gonna clean it out again and make sure it's nice and clean so I can store all my stuff in here. So I'm gonna try to find somewhere to put the camera, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I got the majority of the pieces out. A lot of it was just rotten old pieces of headliner bow. I think they're called headliner bows. But, the wood up there is a lot of what it was. So I got the majority of it. I'm going to get the vacuum and get this sucker vacuumed out. Okay, I got it cleaned out. I'm pretty satisfied with it, considering there were piles and piles of stuff before. I'm not sure how much of the cleanup footage, like time-lapse of me vacuuming and stuff, is even going to be usable, because I think my head was in front of the camera most of the time. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys, this is the only rust hole in this pan that's substantial. There's a little pinhole there with the light coming through, and around that bolt and this bolt there's a little bit of rust, but back in the back it's pretty darn solid. And I mean, considering what I paid for the car, this thing is very, very solid. I think $5,200 for a running, driving Model A that's not rotted out and is still all bolted together is pretty decent. I'm very tickled with it still. So I pulled this mat up, and you can see The wood under the floor here is obviously in need of replacing, but it's still structurally there. I was standing on it and moving all over the place vacuuming, and I at no point felt unsafe. So I think I'm gonna move my flashlight, vacuum out the front a little bit, but the front floorboard's not in, so I don't have like a ton of vacuuming to do there. Just more cleaning. I was just messing around inside, seeing where all the wires and switches go, and the lights came on. So we've got runners, and then I think that's off, and then one more down, I think would be low beams if they work. We got, this guy's not working now. Just a second ago I had 2 headlights, I swear. Huh. I'll be darned. I had 2 headlights just right before I turned the camera on. That's pretty cool. I was thinking that I might have caused the problem messing around with that choke lever. I was thinking that spinning the choke lever adjusts your idle air.
Here's part of our problem.
Okay.
The lever to adjust the spark is off, and that's might be. See this? Shine your light right here. See that laying right there?
Ah, I got
That
you.
should be hooked to there.
I see.
That's how you advance and retard your spark. And you always want to push your spark up when you start it. Which you've got to advance. But let's get this on top of this ignition wire.
Alrighty.
Yes, because every time you start this car, the spark lever should be all the way up, which is a retarded position.
Okay.
If it's not, you run the risk of the motor kicking back on the starter, and broken bendix spring, bent starter, armature shaft. Very important.
Okay.
So,
I got Croyle, ATF in a can with some acetone in it. I mean,
well, come here a second and look at this. See what you've got. What we got to get is like in between that steering wheel and down that column.
okay.
So I don't know.
Something about straw.
Yeah.
All right.
Here. And then we are going to, that spark lever has kind of a, it has a travel to it.
Yeah.
Okay? And this right here, where this is notched out, this sets to your extremes, to your retard, which is all the way up, and your advance.
Okay. One side of the notch is one or the other.
So I'm going to put this on here. And I want to see about. Okay, so we've got it in the retarded position right now, which should be all the way over there.
Okay.
Now you can kind of see I'm going to bend this rod and try to extend it because we're not getting a fully retarded position the way it is.
I got you.
So let's put this hood down over here. Go over. I'll have this hood up and down a million times.
Yeah. I would imagine. And all I know about this kind of stuff is just general automotive knowledge. So
This
I
is
need
a great way to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy
Yeah.
to do what I can do to help you because, like I said, I'm the past of this. you know, my time is not going to be.
Been around Model A since you were 5, is that right?
I had a couple I was out with last night. He said, "You drive those
Oh
everywhere."
my gosh. Yeah.
And I said, "It's all I know.
Yeah.
Virtually, it's all I know." Okay, so we're going to try to straighten this.
Okay.
Where we get more travel out of this. And this, I might have to take this back off. I'm going to try this. And I'll tell you what, let's go back here and take it off. Do you have a vise or anything? Anybody?
I got a bench vise right over there.
Yeah. We'll go with this. I have a feeling we do this, set the gap on the points, maybe file the points up, clean them up a little bit, and that's going to take care of your problem. That carburetor looks like it's a fairly new rebuilt carburetor.
Yeah, the guy just replaced the carburetor, and he said he took the cap off, cleaned the points, and it's been running ever since, so he left it alone. Now, I have somewhere, I mean, it's in the pile, I have a new set of points.
Okay.
If we need them.
Well,
But he said...
We'll take a look at those.
Yeah. He said since it was running good, he just left it alone.
Well, and, you know, I will file points. Now,
Yeah.
people look at me and say, "What in the fuck, you tied it?" I said, "No, that's what they did. You can file them as long as there's, you know, there's plenty of material there. But what you ought to carry with you spare is a condenser, because these are known to burn condensers.
Okay. Yeah, there might
And they make
even be one of those.
a modern. I run the modern points in mine and condenser.
Okay.
And do you have a catalog from any place?
I don't yet.
Well, if you think about it, when you get a chance, go online to Snyder's Antique Automotive and ask them for a catalog.
Okay.
They make a deal. The points and condenser and the configuration was probably not one of Ford's better ideas. There's a wire in the distributor that shorts out, but with the modern upper and lower plate, it does away with the wire, and the points and condenser are all on top, and they are like a small block Ford point where you can go to Napa or someplace like that and get them.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be the way to go, considering
It is when you start driving it.
wanting to drive it a lot.
It is when you start driving it, yeah. We're getting there.
So my question would be, whenever I was twisting on that choke lever trying to make it run better, what am I doing there? Is that the air idle mixture?
Okay, that lever performs two functions.
Oh.
In and out is your choke, and then when you turn it, that's adjusting the needle valve, open and closed.
Oh.
So what you generally want to do is, in weather like this, you open that needle valve about a turn to a turn and a half.
Okay.
As it warms up, you'll notice that the motor will start loping, instead of an even idle, it'll be kind of then you start to back it off, to close it, to somewhere around a quarter to a half of a turn open.
Okay.
When you, let's just say you get in and start it, you know, you run it enough where you get it shut back down, you go to the gas station, shut it off, put gas in it. You really should not have to touch the choke or mess with the needle valve. Hitting that, pushing the spark lever up, very important.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to drum that into your head because you're lucky that
something hasn't broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to push the spark lever up, turn the key on, hit the starter button, and it should take right off.
Yeah.
But it won't do that when it's cold. Engine cold, outside cold.
Gotcha.
I'm really curious what the hell happened. I'm gonna say we sheared a keyway.
I'm guessing you're probably right.
I can't imagine why, if it was anything internal to the rear end, why it wouldn't make noise. I don't know.
Yeah, if something in the rear end were broke, I've heard that kind of stuff before, and they sound terrible when they go.
Yeah.
All right, more
Well,
diagnosing to do.
here we
Well, you're not going to believe this. I don't know. You might believe it. We went for a drive there, and Dave got it running perfect. And we went out north of town here, out into the country, a couple miles out north of town, got on the highway, came back into town, ran her up to 40 mile an hour, and confirmed that the tires are square, very bumpy on the highway. Came back into town, came to a stop sign, and I went to take off from the stop sign, and there's no floorboard in the car, so my heel doesn't have anything to rest on and steadily give it throttle. So I started to let the clutch out, and it kind of went, and I kind of got rocking, and I goosed it, and something went wrong, and we lost all forward motion. So we sat there at the stop sign trying first gear, second gear, third gear. Wouldn't go forward. We tried reverse. It goes forward just fine. So, you know what we did? We drove backwards all the way to my house from one side of town to the other on the side streets. We literally drove backwards for like 6 blocks. And we got it back. And unfortunately, I'm in a mad rush to get some lunch in me before I go to work. So Dave had to pack up his toolbox and get going. But here in the driveway, he had me try all the gears again, and we put it in third, and I let the clutch out, and you notice the speedometer just starts a-winging. So that means nothing in the transmission is broke, because the speedometer gear is at the back of the transmission. And he said that means transmission's good. And the fact that I drove at a pretty good pace in reverse all the way back to the house, and the rear end did not make a peep. No noise at all out of the rear end. We reckon the rear end is probably okay. So, these GoPro batteries are junk. Man, it's frustrating how fast they die in cold weather or very hot weather. Unless, it's very seasonally right in the middle. Anyway, it died. I don't know where it died. So I really hope it recovered most of that footage. But I'm sitting down to scarf down some lunch before I go to work. I gotta go to work in about 10 minutes. So we determined that Dave determined, because he knows about Model A's and stuff, that we probably broke a keyway. The axle and the hub are grooved, and they have a key that holds them together. And whenever I goosed it, it probably hurt the keyway, and it was able to get enough power to one or the other tire to go in reverse anyway. But oh gosh, sometime later this week I'll get the car jacked up and get the wheels off and take the hubs off, and we'll see if that's what it is. And I'm praying that's what it is, because if I broke the rear end or the transmission, that would not be ideal. Oh, I love old cars. It's the next day, and I am itching to figure out what's wrong. Got the heater going. It's got it feeling really nice out here. So I'm going to get the car jacked up and Go from there. Try not to fall off of there. Oh. Oh. You almost fell off of there. Wonder if I can get my chair wrestled through here. I'm leaning toward, maybe not. I'm gonna try it though. I don't have a tripod anymore, so I'm having to get creative. I couldn't get the passenger side apart, so I went to the driver's side. The passenger side, I could get the hub to slide out about 3/4 of an inch and then it would stop, and I thought, well, maybe that's my broken key. You know, it's broken, it's in there bound up. So I thought, well, I don't know how a hub comes off a Model A necessarily. I don't know if it's, you know, special compared to other vehicles. So I went to the driver's side, zipped that side apart. The hub came right off, and this fell out of the inside of the hub. And this was laying in the keyway. So this, my friends, I think in total makes, you know, a whole key. Got one end of it kind of mashed there. I don't know how well the camera will focus, but I would say that is probably the issue. So I'm going to clean these pieces up, send some pictures to Dave, And he's probably going to have a good laugh about that and say, "You got lucky." Well, I called Dave, told him about the key that I found that was split in half, and we talked about it, and he was asking some questions, and I told him that the driver's side, the axle nut was barely hand tight. I mean, it was questionably maybe even loose. And then this passenger side, it was so tight I had to use a big impact to get it broke loose. And he said that aside from my slightly aggressive driving, what broke that axle key was probably the nut being loose. So the hub was had some room to had some play in it, and that's not what you want. So I'm going to try to keep videos a little bit shorter in the future, get them out a little bit more frequently, and have them not so long. So I'm actually going to wrap this video up. I've got to order some keys and get that put back together. And once I get that put back together and confirm that it's working and moving like it should again, then I'm going to go back to what I was doing before and getting all of my parts and stuff neatly organized in the back of the car, so that I can move it and all of its contents in and out of the garage as I need to use my garage for things. So I think I pretty much covered it all. So make sure you subscribe and go check out all the other videos on the channel. There's 65 other episodes on the channel, and there's everything a person could possibly ever want to watch, from road trips to four-wheel drive stuff to ATV stuff. There's one about kayaking. There's a motorcycle trip and hiking video with some beautiful scenery. And my favorite thing on the channel, the monster truck El Camino. It's a 71 El Camino SS on an International truck chassis with a 345 International with a big crazy cam in it. And man, those videos are really cool. That is a fun truck. So just go check it all out. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.